You have never truly known violence, not real violence. The worst thing you have ever witnessed was probably on a screen, edited, distant, safe. Your ancestors did not have that luxury. Somewhere, sometime, hundreds of thousands of years ago, one human being looked at another human being and made a decision that had never been made before in the entire history of our species. The decision to kill, not for food, not for survival against a predator, human against human. And the strange part is not that it happened. The strange part is how long we have actual physical proof of it. Let us start with what everyone gets wrong. Most people assume murder is recent, a product of crowded cities, of greed, of modern pressures our ancestors never faced. The peaceful caveman, the gentle hunter-gatherer living in harmony, fighting only when absolutely necessary. That image is comforting. It is also wrong. Here is the discovery that changed everything. In 2015, researchers excavating a site called Sima de los Huesos in Spain found something that stopped them cold. A skull, roughly 430,000 years old, far older than modern humans. This belonged to an earlier human relative, found at the bottom of a deep cave shaft alongside the remains of at least 28 other individuals. The skull had 2 fractures above the left eye, nearly identical in shape and size, positioned close together. Forensic analysis, the same techniques used in modern criminal investigations, was applied to these 430,000-year-old bones. The conclusion was unavoidable. These were not accidental injuries, not a fall, not an animal attack. The pattern matched deliberate, repeated blows from the same object, delivered by another individual with what researchers called clear intent to kill 430,000 years ago. This is, as far as forensic science can determine, the oldest documented case of murder in the human story. Before language as we know it, before agriculture, before anything resembling civilization existed anywhere on Earth, someone already knew how to kill another person on purpose. But here is where the story becomes genuinely unsettling. The body was not left where it fell. Researchers determined the victim had been deliberately carried or dragged to the entrance of a vertical shaft nearly 13 meters deep and dropped in. Not buried in the way we understand burial, disposed of, hidden, removed from sight, deliberately, by someone who understood that what had happened needed to be concealed. Think about what that requires. Not just the capability for violence, the understanding that violence has consequences, the recognition that a body is evidence, the instinct to hide what was done. This was not a flash of uncontrolled rage. The placement, the disposal, the distance traveled to reach that shaft. All of it points to planning. Deliberate action taken after the killing was already complete. Run that through the survival filter. For decades, anthropologists debated whether early humans were naturally peaceful or naturally violent. The Sima de los Huesos skull did not end that debate, but it proved something undeniable. Whatever the answer, the capacity for premeditated killing and the awareness to conceal it existed in our lineage hundreds of thousands of years before any written law, any organized religion, any court system existed to define murder as wrong. The behavior came first. The morality came later. Here is what should genuinely unsettle you. This is not an isolated case. At a site in Kenya called Nataruk, dating back roughly 10,000 years, archaeologists uncovered the remains of at least 27 individuals, including men, women, and children, showing signs of extreme violence. Crushed skulls, arrow wounds, bound hands on at least one victim, suggesting they were restrained before death. This was not one person killing one person in a moment of rage. This was something else entirely. Coordinated, targeted, an entire group wiped out together in what researchers consider one of the earliest documented examples of organized human conflict found anywhere in the archaeological record 10,000 years ago. Before cities, before kings, before any of the structures we associate with organized warfare, the capacity was already there. So why? This is the question that actually matters. Not when humans first killed each other, but why the behavior existed at all, deep enough in our biology to show up 500,000 years before civilization civilization gave it a name. Evolutionary researchers point to a brutal but consistent explanation. Resources were finite, territory was finite, mates were finite. In small competing groups, the elimination of a rival, whether for territory, for resources, or for status within the group, could provide a genuine survival advantage. This does not make it acceptable, it makes it explicable. The same evolutionary pressures that built cooperation, that built guilt, that built the tight social bonds holding ancient tribes together, also built a capacity for violence when cooperation broke down or when an outside group was viewed as a threat rather than an ally. Humans are not simply peaceful animals corrupted by civilization, and humans are not simply violent animals restrained by civilization. Both capacities, cooperation and killing, were built into us at the same time by the same evolutionary pressures, because both, in the right circumstances, kept our ancestors alive. And here is the detail modern researchers find hardest to sit with. The instinct to conceal a killing found at Sima de los Huesos 430,000 years ago did not disappear. It is still there. It is the same psychological mechanism behind every modern criminal who disposes of evidence, who hides a body, who understands instinctively that what they have done will be judged by others and acts to avoid that judgment. That instinct is not a product of modern law. Modern law is a product of that instinct, finally given formal structure, finally written down, finally enforced by something larger than the individual. The behavior is prehistoric. The rules against it are comparatively brand new. Modern researchers studying these sites have described something they did not expect to feel, not horror in a distant, abstract way, recognition, because the bones at Sima de los Huesos, the skeletons at Nataruk, are not evidence of some alien ancient species behaving in ways modern humans no longer understand. They are evidence of exactly what we still are, with the same brains, the same instinct, the same capacity for both extraordinary cooperation and extraordinary violence, just with 500,000 more years of social structure built on top of it to hold the worst of it in check. You did not invent violence, and you did not invent the rules that contain it. You inherited both from people who had already discovered 400,000 years before history began exactly what a human being is capable of when survival or status or rage outweighs everything else. I am Primal Pages, and next week we go even deeper. Subscribe. Your survival depends on it.